Alright, so some breaking news coming in the last hour. This is with regards to Robert Helenius, and it's with regards his fight with Anthony Joshua post-fight. It's being reported here by Vada that he has returned an adverse analytical finding. That seems to be the new word now for failed test. It seems like that's always what's coming out now, an adverse analytical finding. When that comes out, essentially it is for popping dirty, but we just don't know the substance yet. We still don't know what Dylan White has tested positive for, and that's what, about 3 weeks ago now. Matchroom released a statement on this, and I'm going to quote it here verbatim. It says, today, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, Vada, has informed Matchroom and the British Boxing Board of Control that Robert Helenius has returned an adverse analytical finding as part of a random anti-drug protocol. Helenius was voluntarily tested on Friday, 11th of August, before the heavyweight fighter was defeated by Anthony Joshua in London on Saturday, the August 12th. The result was made known to Matchroom today, the 25th of August. Matchroom defer to the relevant regulatory authorities on the next step. We vehemently continue to support the voluntary anti-doping testing. We are committed to promoting a clean and fair sport for all athletes. We will not be making any further comments. I think that last part is just always chucked in there. It seems to be always the one. So that is the situation now. I first found out about this on the Element Group. I was out with my friend there the last hour. I was coming home anyway at this time, and I was on the Element Group. My friend was out doing deliveries. I just tagged along with him. I was on the Element Group while I was waiting for him to come back, and someone posted this. And straight away, questions start coming in, and someone asked me in the Element Group, do I reckon that, because obviously Helenius fought the week before, and they said, do I reckon that potentially he was tested for that going into this fight? And a lot of other questions, and my first thought was, well, no, of course not. It was only an 8-rounder on a small little card over there in Finland. It would cost more than the card probably made to have Vada testing for that. So no. With Robert Helenius, I suspect he got the call for this fight, knew that he was, because you've got to be monumentally stupid to take something the week of a fight. Any fighter would have to be a complete idiot to take something a week of a fight, knowing there's Vada testing in place, knowing you're going to be tested in the week of the fight, and knowing full well you'll fail. I suspect he was on something for the fight beforehand, because again, he took this Joshua fight on a week's notice. He didn't know he was going to be the opponent. I suspect that he was probably taking something beforehand, knew that the testing for his fight wouldn't be thorough. It was only an 8-rounder. If there was any testing, there was very minimal testing. Probably knew, okay, I'm all right there. Took this fight and probably thought, okay, it's a big payday. I want the payday. I'm going to turn up and fight. Hope to God that this is out of my system before Vada come knocking. Obviously, it wasn't. He tests positive, and there we are. He obviously lost the fight, so I doubt there'll be any kind of looking to get this changed with no contest. Rather than that would benefit Helenius. It's a loss taken off his record. So I'd imagine the result will stay the same. But again, it's another fighter testing positive. Eddie Hearn spoke in an interview about a week or so ago in the wake of the Elisa Baumgardner failed test, and he said that Matchroom tests more thoroughly and more than any other promotion. And if that is true, you will, and I have no reason to doubt that it is, you'll see more fighters test positive. And judging by what we've seen the last couple of weeks, you would have to say that's true, because we're seeing Matchroom fighters. Well, sorry, no. Well, we've seen fighters on Matchroom cards, not necessarily. Well, I suppose you could say Dylan White and Elisa Baumgardner are Matchroom fighters at the end of the day. But we have seen more fighters associated with Matchroom, maybe that's a better way of using it, fail. And that lends credence to what Eddie Hearn is saying about testing fighters on Matchroom shows more. Because if you test more, you are inevitably going to find more people popping, whether the B-side fighter or if they're on the A-side, which Elisa Baumgardner would wholeheartedly be. So, again, another failed test with Vada this time, not drug-free, which is what Elisa Baumgardner was, but Dylan White obviously was Vada. Yeah, and again, this isn't the first person who's popped this week as well. I believe I can't remember his name, but it was on a top-ranked show, who fought Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali. That fight, apparently, which was a draw, some people feel Nico Ali Walsh lost that fight, is now been changed to a no contest. So, we're seeing it happen a lot. Vada, drug testing, all that jazz, it's been in place for years and years and years now. When I talked about the Dylan White situation before Joshua fought Helenius, I brought up the fact that the WBC clean boxing program only really came into effect in 2015, and I spoke about Marius Vac and Ola Duradola having their issues, well, being exonerated subsequently over there in Russia. And at that time it was fairly, I don't want to say it was uncommon, but it didn't happen that frequently where you've seen fighters failing tests. Now, certainly I want to say probably over the last 2 years, we're seeing it a lot more frequently. Is that because the testing is ramped up? Probably. I suspect the majority of fighters, certainly the overwhelming majority, are on something, are on some kind of performance enhancer. It's just a case of, what way are they flushing it out? How thorough is the testing, etc. Because people would say it seems to be only Matchroom. I would say it's probably I'd say it's ubiquitous at this stage in the sport. It's just a case of who's doing the most thorough testing, and unfortunately, it's the way the world is. Who has the best relationship with some of these drug testing agencies? Because if you think that there's not corruption going on at the highest level, I have to laugh at you. I absolutely have to laugh if you think there's not corruption going on at the highest level, because there absolutely certainly is. It's all that's boxing for you. It's been like that since Jesus, when you're going back to the early days of Queensberry rules, maybe even before that, in the London prize ring rules. There's always been that, so that's the way it is. But we are seeing more fighters, and more fighters who, so you could say some are the A side, some are the B side. We're seeing more testing positive, and that's obviously showing that they're doing their job, or the testing is working, which is, I suppose, a good thing if you want to see a clean sport. As I said in several videos, there is the argument that if everyone is taking performance enhancers, shouldn't it not be, a level playing field then? And again, I don't get into that debate. I have my own kind of 2 cents on it, but I've heard a lot of people say that maybe that is an argument that needs to be spoken about, that if everyone is on it, what's the point in testing? And yeah, look, again, I'm not going to go into it, but you would say, have at it, if that is the case. But I'm just reporting on this. Robert Helenius, adverse analytical findings, essentially translated to tested positive post Anthony Joshua fight. I think one thing these last few weeks have done is they have highlighted the fact that there is definitely flaws in this drug testing protocol with regards promoters, fighters being informed. Because this happened on Friday, the 11th. It's now the 25th, and it's only now come to the public attention, and Matchroom are saying they've only been informed today. If that is true, that's just not good enough. It's not good enough from Vada. UCAD, if they pop some, it's common that we're seeing this now, where it's like this happens a week or two in advance, and it only comes to public attention. Should it not be made aware to the public like that when it's happened? Should it not be at least made aware to the promoters like that? I think it should, because at the end of the day, you see the backlash that some of the promoters are getting, putting shows on where one fighter has failed, or trying to, where one fighter has failed, and it not being made. Now, I know with the Conor Benn situation, that was a leak, but is there not a flaw there? That, you're talking a fortnight after the fact, it's only then coming to public knowledge, and the promoter is only being made aware then. That is a problem. And that's a problem. And that's something that needs to be fixed moving forward, I think. Is it as straightforward as, we take the sample, goes to the lab, ping, okay, now we're going to get in contact with everybody? Is it that simple? Look, I'm not in the labs, I don't know. But if it is, surely it should be a case of, ping, Eddie, Frank, Bob, you guys after failing. Okay, boom, done. There you go. Not a fortnight later. Maybe that's me. Obviously, look, I'm not in the lab. I don't know what way it goes through. Maybe it's not as simple as that. I don't know. I'm only reporting on it, thinking outside the box here and just giving my 2 cents, as I tend to do. So that's the situation. Robert Helenius, adverse analytical findings. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I will chat to you tomorrow. Peace.